What's up, y'all? What's going on? It's Taylor Triple more here. So I took this clip earlier in the day. I was getting ready to go in and do my little thing and what have you, but I decided to stop and record some or create a bit of content, recording it and things of that nature while I had a few minutes. So what is that entailing? Okay, well, for number one, take some time out, carve out some time. We carve pumpkins and sculptures and any other thing that we can think of, stockings and okay, great. But what about us? What about our mental space, sis, that allows us to anchor down 3 times a day? Can we carve out time to anchor and pour into ourselves? To anchor ourselves, to be steady enough, to actually pour into ourselves so that we are not constantly drawing from an empty cup. Okay, because can you imagine, seriously, you're famished, you worked all day, 8 hours plus. You pull a cup closer to your mouth, you inhale, and you purse your lips to take a sip. It's empty. We're going to pass out, we're going to faint, we're going to lean to the side. We're going to begin to put pressure on something that probably can even no longer hold us. But can you imagine if you poured from a cup that actually has something sustainable in it? Whether that moment may have been an iced water, an iced coffee, a matcha, a latte. It can be something that's warm, that is getting ready to be a tea. And what about those moments where you pour from those entities? And when you do, you're rewarded with strength, with courage, with the will to continue to go forward and to continuously move forward along your path to accomplishing your goals. They're different energy. One is pulling from a cup that you poured into, literally, and especially physically and spiritually. Because you take out the time, you carve that time out to make sure that what you needed was readily available to you. Now, next scenario, when we are looking to fill our cups, and we're going to focus here on our resources, particularly monetarily. And you've tapped out all your friends. Everybody's been hit the pocket. It's empty. They pulling out lint, dust, and feathers. And you no longer have a physical way to pour into your cup, but you have a monetary resource that is going to give you that same energy. Now, that means that you have had to have been good to someone. That means that someone has had to necessarily been a giver from a very pure and good heart. So that when this person is checking for reserves and they're not sure where to pull from, they can pull from a monetary reserve and resource and thus forth fill their cup. Now, when you go forward with the full cup, okay, the fact that you are willing to make sure that you're good, that you're taken care of, or you're surrounding yourself around people who make sure that you are placed in a space that reflects I'm good. Not constantly pulling from the cup. You know, people always get their 5, 6, 7, 8 straws and only one person has paid. I used to go to the University of Toledo. We would smoke weed. And I would have all my homies, we would be rolling up, get ready to go and do whatever. And it was always this one really chunky white girl named Claire. And she never put in on anything, but she was always the first one with her lighter, ready to get a little puff give going around. You know, she never did come back. And I realized now she was a very selfish young lady. I think Ohio State has some kind of icebreaker. So me and my girlies, we pull up. So we go down there. Shout out to Portia Label. And so we get down there. And Claire is offering to let us stay with her for a little bit while we're there overnight. The house is tore down. It's dirty. It's nasty. We like, hell no, we out. So we leave. And it reflects exactly how she was as a roommate. Period. And so by this point, we pull up to Portia's house. Laid out, right? So we sleep overnight comfortably. But Portia was always really sweet. She always made the best Kool-Aid. She always let us use her TV. You know, she was always a really good giver. We go to the games together, style to the nine. So ladies, trust my advice. Trust me when I say that pouring from emptiness will get you nowhere real quick. Even when you're dealing with Friday and Ice Cube and O'Shea and things of that nature, when they create these movies and you think of Friday 1, 2, and 3, you know, I thank for both of that, dealing with God and Ice Cube for making such things. Yeah, that's how you have to learn how to behave in order to cultivate the things that you want, especially when you pour from a full cup. So I say all that to say, you ain't put in on this man. You know, that comes from a really cultural kind of hood or ghetto aesthetic, but it's also moral. You know, but how often do we miss that point and keep on pouring into to resources that only deplenish us and lessen us, especially as women? So you have to carve out time, not to kick it, not to be around people who necessarily are only rooting for your failure. We have to carve out time for ourselves so that we can be our best selves and show up as our best selves for those around us, for those who rely on us, and for our own mental states, because we also rely on ourselves.